Okay, our next speaker is Xiaochen Zhao from LSU, who will be talking to us about investigating hurricane-induced salt variation across the Land-Estuary-Ocean Continuum.
Expert. Myself? Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Xiaochen Zhao. I'm a research assistant professor here at LSU. And today I'm going to introduce our new study using the dynamically two-way coupled hydrological ocean modeling. And first, I would like to acknowledge support and collaboration from our lab coupled ocean modeling group here at LSU and our colleague from USGS Woods Hole Coastal and Marine Science Center. So in the Gulf Coast, so hurricane has dramatically impacted the coastal ecosystems, such as the coastal Louisiana. We are dominated by this coastal wetland right in front of the disturbance of these hurricanes. So among the different variables, we know that the coastal salinity could serve as a great indicator to help us to evaluate how these coastal ecosystems resilience to the hurricane impact. So the motivation of this work is to using the new dynamically two-way coupled modeling to investigate the salinity and the inundation in the coastal wetlands. So traditionally, to model the salinity, we can build this type of a one-way linked coupling, so which is also known as the offline coupling. So what is one-way couple? So technically, we can build a hydrological model covers coastal land and run the model separately. And the output will serve as the point source to drive the ocean model that covers the coastal ocean. So in this type of coupling, without consider the feedback from the ocean to the land. So the one-way link usually fail to capture the nonlinear interaction between the land and the ocean. So here, the dynamic two-way coupling, what we are doing is that we build one domain covers the entire coastal land and the ocean. We simultaneously run this hydrological model and the ocean model. Let these two models exchange the data every second along this land-ocean boundary to achieve the seamless simulation along this land-ocean continuum. So in this land-ocean coupling, we build this model on the coastal modeling system that stands for the coupled ocean atmosphere wave sediment transport, which is an open source community model. The hydrological model in this coupling is WRF Hydro, which is the core modeling of the national water model. And WRF Hydro can be driven by can be coupled with the atmospherical model or driven by the external forcings to simulate the hydrological processes. So in this WRF Hydro, the land surface model will first simulate all the vertical hydrological processes and energy fluxes. So then the output will drive the hydrological module in WRF Hydro that incorporates subsurface routing, channel routing, and the surface and the overland routing. The ocean model in this coupling is the regional ocean modeling system, ROMS. We coupled overland routing in the WRF Hydro with the ROMS. Let these two models exchange water, sediment, and salt along this predefined land-ocean boundary in our study domains. And further, we introduce this diagonal flow algorithm and local inertial equations. So all these development improve the model accuracy for the simulation in the low-lying coastal area and the river floodplain. It also enhanced the model simulation of the storm surge during the hurricane. And all this advancement and improve the model stability without introducing additional computational cost. So specifically in this study, I introduced this salinity module on this overland routing in hydrological model to simulate the salinity dynamics on land and the land-ocean exchange. So in this module, I implement this mass balance equation. We consider all the vertical and horizontal flux of the salt to simulate the salinity across the land-ocean continuum. And then to validate this new model, we use Hurricane Florence as a case study. For background information, Hurricane Florence is one of the wettest hurricane made landfall in North Carolina near Cape Fear River Estuary in 2018. Our study domain, as shown here, that covers the Cape Fear River Estuary and the adjacent coastal ocean. So first, I conducted 3 different experiments using 3 different model configurations. So experiment 1, we use standalone ROMs, that is the ocean model only. So experiment 2, that is one-way linked ocean model. Experiment 3, using the new dynamic two-way coupled model. On the right hand side, I'm showing the observation and the model comparison. So on the top 2 panel is the simulation for the water level that's used for investigate the compound flooding induced by these extreme events. And the bottom panel shows the result for the salinity and in the estuary and in the coastal ocean. So overall, for the water level and salinity, our dynamic model improved the simulation during these extreme events along this land-ocean continuum. Here I'm showing the spatial dynamics of the salinity from these 3 different model configuration. As you can see here, the dynamic model can, of course, simulate the ocean salinity dynamics. It also can simulate all the salinity on land. For example, here along the coastal coastal land, we are dominated by the wetland. We can see the salinity dynamics. And while the one-way linked model and the ocean model only, they were not able to resolve this salinity on land or in the river floodplain. Then I'm showing a very busy figure, but so here the bottom panel, what you're looking at is the spatial salinity in the estuary at a selected time point. So the bottom panel shows the zoom-in view of the upper estuary at exactly the same point. I put another reference here showing the wetland distribution along this estuary. So not surprised, you can see the upper and the mid estuary was dominated by the freshwater marsh, and in the lower estuary was dominated by the salt marsh. And on the small top panel here, I'm showing a zoom-in view of the estuary head as marked by these 3 selected points. LE1, land estuary transect 1, that point is exactly on the river floodplain. The LE2 is on the wetland. LE3 is in the river channel. So what happened during these hurricane events? Before the hurricane made landfall, we see the flood tide push the salt water landward. And we see the salt water submerge all these freshwater dominant system. And then during the ebb tide, we see the water flowing out of the estuary head, salinity decrease. Then after hurricane made landfall, we still can observe the tidal signal push the salt water in and out. But overall, we see the salinity decreased compared to the case before the hurricane made landfall. That is because the hurricane induced the discharge flow into the estuary and start to decrease the salinity overall. And after that, as the discharge continue increase, we see the fresh water start to dominate salinity in the estuary head and continue until its entire estuary. So then continue move from the estuary to the coastal ocean to investigate the coastal ocean freshwater plume evolution. Here I extract the salinity along this estuary-ocean transect and plot this salinity in this way. So basically here, the x-axis is the time series, and y-axis is distance away from the coastline. So 0 is here, coastline, and the day is away from here. So we can, from this panel, we use the 30 isobars as the boundary to isolate the freshwater plume. So we can see here, close to the estuary mouth, we observed 3 times freshwater plume expand up to 20 kilometers away from the estuary mouth. And similarly, we continue to extract salinity along 4 additional transects along the western coast and plot the similar pattern. Then first, we observe the similar pattern across all these 5 transects. That's because the fresh water flowing out of the from the estuary dominant freshwater plume form and evolution along this western coast. And if we look into these details, we find that the pattern of at inlet 2 to 4 was not that distinct. You didn't observe three distinct shifts. That's because the local freshwater impact you can see from here. And then, so that's all my talk. Sorry, a little bit long, but we applied this dynamic two-way couple. I know I didn't talk about delta, I didn't talk for carbon and sediment, but we have applied this model to the Gulf Coast, including the coastal Louisiana. You can access those applications through this QR code. Thanks for all your attention, and I would like to take any suggestions and questions during the following discussion panel. Thank you.